Today, on December 23rd, we begin this Hockey Festivus with the airing of Hockey Grievances. We got a lot of problems with you people, and on today's Locked on Lightning, you're going to hear about it.
You're Locked on Lightning, your daily podcast on the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Part of the Locked on Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for making Locked on Lightning your first listen of the day. Every single day, we are your free daily Tampa Bay Lightning podcast, part of the Locked on Podcast Network, your team every day. As always, we want to begin with a shout out to our everydayers. Those of you who tune into every single show, every single day, we love you and we appreciate the support you give us week in and week out. I'm Nick Morgan. My normal partner in crime, Greg Stephen, is off today. We are celebrating Hockey Festivus, December 23rd. If you've ever seen Seinfeld, you know exactly what we're talking about. If you're not familiar with Festivus, it is a holiday created by the great Frank Costanza, a.k.a. Jerry Stiller, as an alternative to Christmas, celebrated by such traditions as feats of strength and what we'll be doing today, the airing of grievances. It is a post-dinner ritual. People share all the ways that others have disappointed them in the past year. And as Tampa Bay Lightning fans, we certainly have a lot of grievances to air. We have some grievances with a certain team a little bit further south than us. We have some grievances against the people sitting in the league office. We have some grievances with a specific player a little bit north of us. And we're looking at, why not? Some grievances to some people overseas in the Milan Cortina area. We have a lot of things we need to get off our chest as Lightning fans today, people. So let's get into Hockey Festivus. Before we begin, do want to mention today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. If you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. All right, Lightning fans, let's get into the airing of our hockey grievances. And grievance number one, it's the hockey gods themselves. Curse the hockey gods for the health that they have given the Tampa Bay Lightning this season. What's the deal with all these injuries? Why are so many Lightning players getting hurt this year? It is insane. 3 players on the Tampa Bay Lightning, Yanni Gourde, Jake Guentzel, Oliver Bjorkstrand, have played all 36 games this year. That's it. Everybody else has missed time for one reason or another. Some random call-ups up in there. We had a suspension for JJ Moser, some healthy scratches. How do we only have 3 players at this point in the season who have played all games so far? It's bizarre. This stat's insane. The Tampa Bay Lightning have the 4th most man games lost to injury this season. If you take out players on long-term IR who were placed on long-term IR before the season, the Lightning are first. So they have the most in-season injuries this year, more than any other NHL team. And it is insane, and it is concerning. Look, Greg Stephen and I have debated this a lot about how far the Lightning can go this season with all these injury problems. And look, it's been great to see players step up, like stick taps to Darren Raddysh, stick taps to JJ Moser for really taking over and locking down that first defensive pair. Stick taps to players like Dominic James, who have come into this lineup maybe a little bit unexpectedly, maybe as a player that the team wasn't really expecting to have in their lineup this season. You could say the same thing about Dastu on the blue line. Kudos to them for coming in and carving out a niche for themselves. And kudos to the Lightning development system for getting guys who are ready to go at a moment's notice. All that's cool. As you get deeper into this season, you're going to probably need some better luck when it comes to health. Obviously, you look around the league right now, and the Tampa Bay Lightning, I think with better health, probably would have a little bit better record at the start of this Christmas break. But I think it's going to be key for health to be the number one, X factor is the best way to say it moving forward in the second half of the year. Look, me personally, I think it's going to reach a breaking point now. Look, everybody else has stepped up. Obviously, when you have a guy like Nikita Kucherov at the top of your lineup, and you have guys like Jake Guentzel, and who's been playing really well all season, and Braden Point, who's just starting to get hot, you can absolutely kind of outscore your way through some of these games. They're the eraser. They're going to do everything. And when Andrei Vasilevsky is hot in goal, he's the guy that can also erase a lot of mistakes and win games that you probably shouldn't be winning. That being said, I think as this next stretch of the season goes on, getting guys back are going to be huge. You're going to need a healthy Victor Hedman. You're going to need a healthy Brandon Hagel. You're going to need a healthy Eric Chernak. All these players are going to help solidify that depth that, quite frankly, you are missing for the last couple of playoff series. And look, the Panthers are not having a good start to the year, but they're going to get Matthew Tkachuk and Sasha Barkov before the playoffs, supposedly. I don't think Toronto is going to be this bad this long. And then you have a lot of teams on the rise, both in this division and around the Eastern Conference. I mean, look at what Detroit's done this year. Montreal is still hot. The New Jersey Devils, I think when they're healthy and also not banged up, that's another team that I think is dangerous. So look, there's not going to be any easy outs in the playoffs for the Tampa Bay Lightning. You got to have guys healthy. And I think if the hockey gods don't improve upon their good luck that they give us, I think we may possibly be talking about another really tough playoff series. Speaking of the playoffs, our next grievance, you guys know what it is. It's the Florida Panthers. Oh, now this is somebody that we would love to go one-on-one with the feats of strength and just take them behind the woodshed, and maybe throw a couple of elbows when the NHL Department of Player Safety don't looking. But, as we know, they would probably fine us and shut the show down while giving, the Panthers a little pat on the back. God, and here's the thing about the Florida Panthers is I really want to like the Florida Panthers. I really want to like them. Look, I know maybe that's sacrilegious for a Lightning fan to say, but I watch a player like Matthew Tkachuk, and I love his game. Like, I love watching Sam Bennett when he's not just running a goaltender. I love Sasha Barkov is one of my favorite players in the NHL. I love the physicality. I love the energy. I love the entertainment value. I love the chip on their shoulder. And let's be honest, they've been to the Stanley Cup for 3 straight years. They've won the East 3 straight years. 2 of those years, they've won the Stanley Cup. You do have to give them flowers. I mean, I think they're a good team. They're like a really, I think they're one of those teams that you would love to cheer for if they weren't playing against your team and doing what they normally do against your team. It's just... there's 2 layers to this grievance. Obviously, they've beaten the Lightning in back-to-back years, so that's grievance number 1. But God, they make it so easy to hate them, don't they? They really do. And I want to bring up an instance from the other night where they play the Carolina Hurricanes, and a couple Hurricanes get hurt in that game. Now, it's not. It was a trip. Like, it's something that should have been a 2-minute penalty, but Seth Jarvis slides chest first into the goal and gets up hurt. And nothing is called. Like, not even the 2-minute penalty is called. And it's just like little things like that seem to happen in every game. But I want to go to, you've probably seen this, Brad Marchand skating in front of the net, does a quick little spear, like lift stick, right in the goalie's, nether regions. The goalie goes down, writhing in pain. There's no call, no stoppage. Marchand gets the puck and just flips it over the goalie, writhing in pain. Everybody sees immediately. It's like, what the heck? This was, at the very least, play should have stopped. This was a stick, like a poke at the goalie that hurt the goalie. He's on the ice, writhing in pain. It wasn't even reviewed. And after the game, there was like a joke where it was like this, like a photo of this kid, who was just kind of getting wild with a stick, and he was accidentally just like kind of slashing the goal, like the fake goalie in front of his little toy net. And Brad Marchand retweeted it. And it's like, oh, I did something just like that last night. Yeah, funny for Brad Marchand. He's a troll, but every other team in the NHL is looking at that. And it's like, okay, but you're getting away with that every game. What are you doing, man? And why are you sitting here laughing at it? And even as Lightning fans, you talk about the 3 hits to Brandon Hagel, 2 of which didn't get supplemental discipline. I guess 1 did, but it was a fine. It was basically a slap on the wrist. Like John Cooper got fined, 4 or 5 times more for putting an enforcer in the next preseason game than AJ Greer got for actually sucker punching Brandon Hagel. Brandon Hagel's been hurt 3 consecutive times against the Florida Panthers. You look at the play where, Nico Mikkola cross-checks Jake Guentzel in the back of the head and goes down, and there's no call on that. It's a hit to the head. You go, I think it was Adrian Kempe when the Panthers played the Kings this past week, and Kempe was involved in a hit on the ice. Somebody comes back and just with their fists just stomps Kempe's head into the ice. And again, that's a dangerous head centric play, and there's no call. And number one, obviously we have another grievance coming out, but the Florida Panthers keep doing this stuff and keep getting away with it. Come on. It's just, what are you doing? I really want to like you, Florida Panthers. I really do. And that sounds weird coming from a Lightning fan, but just as an objective hockey fan, you play the brand of game I like. It's just, can you not do the dirty stuff? God, I would like you so much more if some of this dirty stuff didn't happen. I don't care that Matthew Tkachuk gets under people's skin. I don't care that Sam Bennett finishes his, checks along the boards. I don't care that you lay a few big hits here and there. If you keep it within the rules of the game, cool. But there's so many things they do that go outside the rules of the game that they get away with. Oh, and that leads me to the next grievance, maybe the biggest one. It's the NHL and the Department of Player Safety. Let's dive into that grievance when we come back. Today's episode is brought to you by Monarch. The holidays, they're my favorite time of year, but let's be honest, they can get overwhelming fast between all the travels, the gifts, the parties, the year-end expenses. It's really easy to lose track of your money this time of year. That's exactly why Monarch has become such a game changer for me. If you want to keep your finances under control this holiday season, you need to be using Monarch, rated Wall Street Journal's best budgeting app of 2025. Monarch is the all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your financial life together in one clean, simple dashboard. Monarch was so easy for me to set up. All I did was connect all of my accounts, my bank accounts, my credit cards, my 401ks, all that jazz, and within seconds, I could see clear data visuals and categorization of my spending, so I knew where my money was going. The holiday spending category has been a game changer for me this year. I just put in exactly how much I wanted to spend on gifts, travel, cookies, all that good stuff. And anytime I buy something that fits that category, the remaining balance updates in real time. It's also a great gift for couples. There's shared dashboards, shared goals, which lead to fewer wait. How much did we spend? Conversations that you and your spouse need to have. So don't let this financial opportunity slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONNHL at monarch.com in your browser for half off your first year. Again, 50% off your first year at monarch.com with code LOCKEDONNHL. We're back on Locked On Lightning. Nick Morgan here. Greg Stephen has the morning off. We are continuing with Hockey Festivus and our airing of hockey grievances as Tampa Bay Lightning fans. And one of the biggest grievances I think we all should have is the NHL Department of Safety. Number one, how is this even set up? The NHL Department of Safety always reminds me of that scene in South Park where they're parodying how the federal government decides bailouts or how they deal with big businesses. It's literally Department of Player Safety is the chicken with their head cut off, running around a board with a bunch of possible punishments while one guy just plays the Benny Hill theme song on a kazoo. like, it's just, there's no rhyme or reason to anything they do. One play is in one game is called a certain way. Like the hammer comes down, 2-game suspension, fine, blah, 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 blah. And then it's like the same play 2 nights later, and then like nothing is called in the ice, and there's like, so-and-so will not hear any more about, supplemental discipline. It's like, and you look at it, it's like, it's the same play with the same lead up and the same intent. Like, what are you doing here? Like, there's no, that's probably the biggest grievance, I think, with the NHL Department of Safety, is there's not sort of this clear cut, here's what you did, and if you do this, here's the punishment. Like, it's insane. Like, it really is insane just how many bad decisions they've made, even just this year. As it comes to us, I can't help but look back at the double standard between, let's say, what the Lightning did and let's say what the Florida Panthers did in the lead up to this season. I'm taking last year's playoffs away, because that should have been the clean slate right then and there. That really should have been. Brandon Hagel was suspended for a dirty hit on Sasha Barkov. And you know what? I will say it was a reckless hit. That is a play that Brandon Hagel should have rightfully been punished for. Aaron Ekblad comes back, and in what looks like a pretty clear, let's be honest, a pretty clear retaliatory action, levels Brandon Hagel, and then Brandon Hagel misses time, and Aaron Ekblad is suspended for that. Cool. Okay. Everything should be punished. That should be the clean slate. We go to preseason. AJ Greer sucker punches Brandon Hagel. And I know people are like, we live rent-free in your head. Oh, you're still talking about this. It happens in hockey all the time. No, it doesn't. Brandon Hagel doesn't drop his gloves. He doesn't push back. If Brandon Hagel's in the middle of the scrum and he's shoving AJ Greer, cool, whatever. Moot point. I would actually probably agree with you. But that's not what happened. Brandon Hagel's trying to get away. He's looking to the ref and shrugging and being like, what are you going to do about this? AJ Greer just turns around and punches Brandon Hagel in the head, and Brandon Hagel misses time. That is a punch to the head that causes somebody to miss time. That's not in a fight. That's not a hockey play. That's not like just two guys fighting for the puck and a fist comes up high. No, this was a sucker punch. This was him trying to get Brandon Hagel to go, and Brandon Hagel wouldn't go, so he just sucker punched him. AJ Greer gets fined. So we go to the next game, and Hagel's hurt. John Cooper does what he does with the lineup. And the first thing that happens is Scott Sabrin tries to get Aaron Ekblad to go. I mean, it's clearly it's clearly an instigator. I mean, he takes Ekblad down and starts throwing punches. But how is that a 4-game suspension for Sabrin? How is that worthy of a 4-game suspension? Are we now going back and saying that was retaliation against Ekblad? Okay. Then why wasn't AJ Greer fined for punching the guy that's his hit was the one that started this whole thing? Why wasn't that considered retaliation? It's just little double standards like that. And then we get to later in the game, and it's Carter Verhaeghe. He gets ejected for boarding Zemgus Girgensons. Zemgus Girgensons is hurt. Zemgus Girgensons misses the first couple weeks of the season due to injury. Carter Verhaeghe does not receive any other discipline from the NHL for that. JJ Moser, I think this was later in the game. If it was before, I apologize. Somebody correct me. If it's later in the game, exact same play as Carter Verhaeghe. The lead up is the same. The contact is the same. And I don't think either one of them were intentionally dirty hit. I think it was a reckless hit, and each should have been punished for it. But that was a board on JJ Moser, exact same play as Carter Verhaeghe. JJ Moser gets a 2-game suspension. And Carter Verhaeghe, remember, did not receive any supplemental discipline. It's stuff like that that just makes you go, as a hockey fan, what's going on here? There's little inconsistencies between that and, just everything else. And that's the inconsistencies that drive me wild. It's like when your team is getting, suspensions for, any little thing that gets out of line. And then you look across and this other team is doing something similar, kind of doing hits that are towing the line of legality. And it's like never a second guess. Seth Jones, I don't think that was a dirty hit, what he did to Brandon Hagel in this most recent game this last December, but it was a reckless hit. His arm was up. He went high. There was contact with the head. If you slow it down, the first point of contact is with the head. Brandon's Hagel head snaps down a little bit. It's not like the big impact, but it was a contact with the head, with your head up. And Seth Jones got nothing. Seth Jones got nothing for that. I've seen that play with other players around the NHL where that's at the very least a fine. I'm not saying Seth Jones meant to do that. But I'm saying it was a reckless play that now has resulted in Brandon Hagel getting hurt. Brandon Hagel has still not come back into this lineup, and nothing was called by the NHL. And it is just getting frustrating as a hockey fan. And it's not just us Lightning fans. I mean, you go around the league and there's so many things like the Brad Marchand thing that the Panthers seem to get away with. And I do look at the NHL Department of Player Safety and look at how it's set up. And look, there needs to be more of a standard. Like there needs to be more. I think NHL Department of Safety needs an overhaul. I think that's the biggest takeaway of all this is it's how they're structured now is not working. And it's going to get to a point, and I know Panthers fans are probably sitting here being like, crying about the NHL Department of Safety. You're going to get a team that does what the Panthers did or does what the Lightning did this preseason. You're going to have a team start taking matters into their own hands. And it's not always going to be like Scott Sabourin coming on the ice. Like there's going to be, you're going to piss off the Flyers and Nick Delorier is going to come up, or the San Jose Sharks are going to be long out of it, and somebody's going to take a hit at Macklin Celebrini, and Ryan Reeves is going to come and settle it. You're going to get a team that gets pissed off and starts taking matters into their own hands, and I don't think the Panthers want that. I don't think the Panthers players want that. You guys are searching for your third Stanley Cup. You don't want Carter Verhaeghe missing time because Ryan Reeves took a cheap shot on him for a perceived dirty hit. You don't want that. You want the NHL Department of Player Safety to level the player field a little bit, or teams are going to start to get pissed and they're going to start taking matters into their own hands. That's how I truly feel. And look, I do think NHL Department of Player Safety needs an overhaul. It really does. Let's move on to our next grievance. We have a certain player up north who deserves his own grievance. We're also looking out across the pond to our grievance in Europe. More grievances when Hockey Festivus continues on Locked on Lightning. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. NFL Sundays move fast. One big play and suddenly everything feels totally different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in real time. With FanDuel, you can place bets as the action unfolds. Every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight moment. Live betting is best when the game starts to shift. Maybe a receiver gets hot. Maybe a defense tightens up. Or there's a big turnover and momentum flips on its head. FanDuel lets you jump into the moment live with in-game bets that update instantly. The live spreads and money lines adjust instantly whenever there's a big play. Player props update as guys heat up. So Bucky Irving's tearing it up on the ground. You can bet more on his rushing stats or even his touchdowns. You can also bet next touchdown scores, drive results, totals, and more. It keeps you locked into every snap, every drive, every possibility. So if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. You can also download the FanDuel app straight to your phone so you can catch the action wherever you go. FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so can you. Welcome back to Hockey Festivus on Locked on Lightning. It is our annual airing of grievances against pretty much anybody who has made us Tampa Bay Lightning fans mad over the past year. And now we go to a team a little bit up north from the Tampa Bay Lightning. Our next airing of grievance is against Ilya Sorokin and the New York Islanders. Seriously, how has this guy made the Islanders just the unbeatable team for the Tampa Bay Lightning this year? The Lightning have played 3 games against the Islanders and have lost every single one. Ilya Sorokin in those games, 1.67 goals against average, .917 save percentage, and 2-0 in the shutout. He has just made every game against the Islanders so hard. And look, the Lightning have outplayed the Islanders in every single one of these games. And just like I said, a good goaltender is an eraser for you. And that's exactly what Ilya Sorokin has done to the Lightning this year. He's been the eraser. He has taken what I would say are pretty good, like better games for the Tampa Bay Lightning against the New York Islanders. He's taken that sort of one-sidedness and leveled the playing field. And the Islanders have gotten wins in every single game this year. What are you doing, Ilya Sorokin? You can't give us one. You have to be on fire every single game. What are you doing, man? Come on. Like, save some epic performance for the rest of the NHL. I say that, and I think Ilya Sorokin's actually like the best goalie in the league this year. I think he's first in goals saved above expected. The Islanders are right in the playoff hunt, probably a little bit sooner than I think a lot of people thought they'd be coming into this year. Him and Matthew Schaefer together, that is going to be a really good team that's built from the back end out for years to come. And I'll also just point out that the Lightning have lost 6 of their last 10 games against the New York Islanders. There's something about that team on Long Island that for some reason just trips the Lightning up and has been for the last little bit. So yeah, that's a grievance we have. Ilya Sorokin, may your Festivus be unmerry and bright and whatever the opposite of a holly jolly Festivus is. Our next airing of grievance goes to the people in charge of building the rink in Milan, Cortina for the Olympics this coming game. You had this assignment for 7 years. You knew the Olympic Games were coming here 7 years ago. You can't build a rink in time and one that meets the NHL standards. How did nobody check this? How has this been allowed to slide for the last, let's say, at least 4 years? You didn't plan this sooner? Like, you didn't figure this out. Number one, you didn't figure this out in your Olympic bin. The Olympics were like, you got it, buddy. You'll figure it out. It's bizarre that 3 months before the Olympic Games, we're just hearing all this stuff. It's like, well, the rink still doesn't have a roof on it, but we have confidence. Oh, also, it's 3 feet shorter than what was agreed upon and what NHL players are used to. Like, this is the epitome of like planning your wedding with 3 months out. Like this is a major event and you can't get this. But the grievance comes from the danger it's putting on us being robbed of players in the Olympics again for the 3rd consecutive time. Like, we were so excited to finally have NHL players back in the Olympics. Although I know I was. I know some people aren't, but I just think it's better when NHL players are playing in the Olympics. I think it makes the men's tournament that much more meaningful. I think it makes it must-see TV. I think it elevates it from just something to have on in the background to maybe the centerpiece of your Olympic viewing. I truly believe that. And not having NHL players at these games, I think would rob the sport of its best. And so for the rink people who can't build a rink in 7 years, apparently, and then finally get started and build it incorrectly, When they put that in jeopardy, there is a little bit of frustration because this is what we were most excited to see this year was NHL players back in the Olympics. And look, the players want to be there. The players want to be there. I think the majority of fans want to be there, although I get the other argument. It's clear that the NHL does not want its players in the Olympics. And I think the majority of owners across the NHL don't either. So they're going to be looking any excuse to pull the plug and say, this just isn't the safe thing to do. So if the first year, fine, like that's the NHL is greedy and wanted its own sort of World Cup of hockey that clearly sucked and wasn't fun to watch and didn't work. Whatever. You try it, and the second time it's robbed by COVID, fine, something out of league control, totally get it. But if we miss players in the Olympics for the third year due to just gross incompetence, I'm going to be so mad. And I think the NHL should rain hell upon the IOC for letting it happen. All right. Do we feel better? Do we feel ready to move on to the feats of strength? That's not on today's show, but do we feel better about airing our grievances? Lightning fans, did I miss something? Did I miss a grievance? Let us know your hockey grievances over the past year. Comment on our YouTube page. Let us know on our social media channel. We'd love to hear your take of the past year. Make sure you do follow us on socials. We're Locked On Lightning, Instagram, TikTok, pretty much wherever you scroll. And however you're tuning in, whether you're watching on YouTube or listening in on your favorite podcast platform, make sure you hit that subscribe button. It not only helps us out with numbers, but it helps you guys know when we have new content out for you. That's going to do it for us on today's Locked On Lightning. Thanks for making us your first listen of the day. Back with a new episode tomorrow. We'll see you then.